Howdy, hey soul family, how are y'all doing today? My name is Shelby, welcome to the channel. I'm here for another guitar chat. The last one I recorded, I watched it back and it made me laugh, and I really enjoyed these. I'm sort of a low energy today. I typically like to start my videos with the reason why I'm recording this is to bring you love, light, positivity, and overall raise your vibrational frequency within your emotional, mental state, and just bring you joy and a smile. But yeah, I'm a low energy today. For some reason, I've been spending so much time in bed, and I don't typically eat animal products. And I'll tell you why. It's just because the animal goes through a prolonged period of suffering, and when you consume a product such as the flesh or egg or dairy that is associated with that suffering animal, I do believe that we consume that pain and fear and suffering. Can you hear that? I have the little guitar background going. Just a little music ambiance, but yeah, so for some reason I convinced myself that eggs are fine. However, I ate 8 eggs the past 2 days, and honestly, I don't usually have depression on a daily basis. However, the past 2 days have been kind of rough, and I'm thinking it's because I consumed eggs, and I had to really think about it on a deep level and just tell myself, the egg is a byproduct of that chicken, so it's gonna carry those negative emotions. So, yesterday I slept till around 3 p.m. and today I slept till around 12. And then I went on a grocery store run and came home, and I actually slept for another 3 to 4 hours, and then had a Bible study meeting, so that was good. And I felt like I reached some kind of revelations in Jesus's teaching towards us. I want to read it to you. You can probably tell if you've seen my other videos, I am such a low energy today. I'm just mellow, and I shouldn't be tired, but my bed's calling my name. But I love y'all, and I wanted to talk to you about Jesus's word. So we studied John, and we're about to get into the book of Acts, which I'm excited for, but we've been studying the book of John, and it talks about Jesus comes to save the world, and in his words, he says, "Whoever believes in me believes not in me, but in him who sent me." So that's John 12:44. "And whoever sees me sees him who sent me." And so, I tend to have spiritual beliefs that coincide with my biblical beliefs. And whenever he says, "Whoever sees me sees him who sent me," I do believe that overall we have one soul. We're all one. We're all interconnected as one being. And whenever he says, "Whoever sees me sees him who sent me," well, the eyes are the window to the soul. So you see Jesus, and then you see his soul, and you see the oversoul, which is Jesus, which is our, once we ascend from the soul journey, we become one with Jesus. And technically, we can be one with Jesus while we're on earth. That's ascension. However, the afterlife is just fully, I think it becomes more apparent in your consciousness that you are one with everything, but in your body, in your earthly body, you are experiencing a separation from source, which is basically experiencing your shadow, which is why it planet Earth can be a rough journey for a lot of us because we're facing a lot of shadows. And another thing it said that stuck out to me was saying, so it's in John 14, it says, "Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms." So to me, that means that in my Father's house there are many rooms. So when he refers to the Father, I personally will look at the Father as being, of course it's Jesus, but I don't, Jesus is depicted as a person in the Bible, but I typically look at Jesus as the symbolization of love and source. So, and typically I'll look at the Father, when you look at the Holy Trinity, the Father I look at as being our higher selves, which is our ascended souls. Which, like I said, you can be ascended even in this body where you are vibrating and existing on in a higher state of consciousness, in a higher state of being. So your Father is your highest self. Your Son is I guess you can look at it as your lower state of consciousness, or I think the Father would be the ascended souls as one. So I've done some research on the near-death experiences, and I've heard a lot of people's encounters with Source as an all-knowing being. And so people have met Jesus, and I've heard encounters and experiences where people come back with the truth of saying that Jesus consists of a multitude of souls, not just one single person. So Jesus is an entity, but it's a multitude, which when it says in my Father's house there are many rooms, I imagine that is like rooms being souls, different personalities, different souls, right? I don't know how else to put that. So, and then another thing, so the Father being the highest self, which is the highest state of consciousness, the Son being actually this is how I put it, the Father being the heart, because that's the high, like when you feel and think from your heart space, it's the higher state of consciousness, right? So your ego being the Son, so that's the lower state of consciousness, and then the Holy Spirit being the soul, and the oversoul is, we're all interconnected. And so John 14:10, it says, "Do you not believe that I am the Father and the Father is in me? The words that I say to you, I do not speak on my own authority, but the Father who dwells in me does his works. Believe me that I am the Father and the Father is in me, or else believe on account of the works themselves." So on John 14:12, it says, "Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these he will do, because I am going to the Father." So when he says I am going to the Father, I think it's because he is rising to a higher state of consciousness. And of course, after he passes, we're all technically one with Source, but when you pass, you experience consciously that oneness with Source. So yeah, and he says, "Whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do, because I am going to the Father." So the Father being the higher state of consciousness, the higher state of being, which is your heart. And so, and in the Father's house there are many rooms. I just think that there's someone, I'll find the video and link it below, but there's someone who encountered the Source, all-knowing Source intelligence, and she came back and said that Jesus consists of multiple souls, right? Which is the multiple rooms. So, yeah, that's what we talked about in Bible study today, and I find it interesting. And truthfully, in class, I don't particularly voice my opinions or my beliefs in this regard, because it might, I don't know, it might contradict a lot of people's beliefs, because I am highly spiritual and I have done some outside research, you know, and maybe me voicing my opinion would help others in their souls or in their consciousness or in their understanding of this all. And I should probably just say what I think out loud, but I'm not trying to create any friction in this group. I'm really not trying to create arguments or misunderstandings. And also, I don't want to come off as being ignorant as far as what the word is trying to say versus what I think. So I keep it to myself, but I'm here sharing it with you, so I hope you enjoyed that. Read the book of John. It's so beautiful. And it's interesting. So I'll link this video down below as well. I discovered this video, and it talks about how the 4 Gospels, and I cut this in my notes on my phone, so I can't access it because I'm recording on my phone, but it talks about how the 4 Gospels represent the 4 elements in nature. So the book of Mark is fire, the book of Matthew is the mental, I'll have to link it below, you'll watch it, and I can put it in the description about what it symbolizes. But each of the 4 Gospels in the Bible is supposedly symbolizing the different elements: earth, water, fire, air. And the way it is explained is actually super interesting. So, and it almost kind of makes sense. The book where Jesus goes and fasts for 40 days, it's him mastering the fire within, right? So it's interesting. I'll link it down below in case you're interested. I love studying and learning, so if I find something that really resonates with me and I want to share, then it's probably somewhere deep in my videos. I'll share them as they come. So honestly, I shouldn't be tired because I actually slept all day, but as you can tell, I probably look tired. I'm not sure, my ear just kicked on, so I'll make this video semi-short because I can see how listening to someone ramble on while they play guitar can be a little boring, but hopefully I'm not boring you. And we got to talk about the book of John, so, and when I get into the book of Acts, you'll hear all about it just as well. So tell me if you recognize this tune at all. I'm still getting good at it. I'm still learning it, practicing, so I'm not perfect, but if you recognize this tune, please shout out in the comments, because I haven't figured it out. I just started playing it and I was like, oh yeah, I know that song, but I'm like, what is the name? What are the lyrics? I have no idea. Ready? Okay. The melody. I don't know, guys. I just started playing it. The air probably is annoying. Let me turn it off. Yeah. I love y'all, and I do believe that the Bible does symbolize has a lot of symbolization, a lot of encoded information that requires a lot of deeper understanding than just surface level. And I did meet someone recently who studied, he has a bachelor's in ministry, and he was honest and said that when you read the Bible and take it literally, it just makes no sense, but when you look at it metaphorically, it begins to sink in. So I've been studying the metaphorical meaning, and honestly, I do want to come to a place where I just have a full, deep understanding of it all. And so stay updated, or just, stay in touch, subscribe, like, whatever, and we will get to the bottom of it together. There's one more point I wanted to hit on. Yeah, so I have a video where I made a video about the truth of Jesus in his entirety and what he symbolizes, and basically the gist of that was like, Jesus symbolizes love. The Father is the higher state of consciousness, your higher self, which is love. And then the Son is the ego, which is the lower state of consciousness, and the Holy Spirit is the soul, and they all work interconnectedly as one. So, your mind, your heart, and your soul are not separate. They're all interconnected. And perhaps there's another aspect to that we're missing out on, and I'm not sure. I think about it a lot. So yeah, if you're into this kind of stuff, then definitely subscribe, because I like to touch base on biblical teachings, but also spiritual esoteric teachings. And I do believe that there's a bigger picture that we're missing as a church. I do believe that the teachings can be a little bit, what's the word? They're just too literal and to the point. And when I think of Jesus being nailed to a cross and saving the whole world, it really truly doesn't make sense. But the symbolization of it is like, yeah, this person died, and his act of dying in our place symbolizes love. So Jesus symbolizes love. And as I said that, I felt like my crown chakra was activated, which feels like the presence of Jesus. I don't know how to explain it. I like right now, this is gonna sound crazy, but I had an awakening on the highway where I was driving, and I remember feeling like I was Jesus. I was like, I'm not any separate being from God. I am God. And sitting here right now talking, like, I feel my crown chakra is just activated, so I feel like Jesus is just sitting here right now. And I hope that's not weird, but honestly I don't really care, because that's just my experience. But yeah, like, when you enter the highest state of consciousness and activate your higher self, which is your crown, you become one with the Father. Anyway, that right there is a revelation in itself. So yeah, I'm just gonna repeat myself. Alkalize your body, ground your energy with the planet, hydrate yourself, avoid toxins, detox yourself, and practice self-love and choose love in all instances. And when you activate your crown chakra, enter a higher state of consciousness, you become one with the Father. So there it is, guys. I'll link my other videos down below, so there should be 3 just links in the description that I recommend you check out. I love y'all, and take it easy, and peace. Thanks for watching. Love y'all.